You walk up to a soda fountain, scan the options, and there it is. Root beer. Dark, foamy, smelling like nothing else in the lineup. You've had it 100 times, but here's the thing. It's called beer, yet there's no alcohol. It tastes like herbs, yet most brands use artificial flavoring. And for something so familiar, most people have no idea where it originated. So what is root beer, really? And why is it called beer if it isn't one? Root beer is one of the most misunderstood drinks in America. It's not beer, it's no longer made from roots, at least in most cases, and it started as something completely different from the soda we know today. This is the story of how homemade herbal tonic turned into a cultural icon, survived a federal ban, and became one of the most distinctive flavors in the soft drink world. Let's go back to where it all began. Long before root beer was sold in bottles or served to drive-ins, indigenous peoples across North America were brewing medicinal drinks from the roots and barks of local plants. Sassafras, sarsaparilla, birch bark, wintergreen. These weren't sodas, they were remedies believed to purify the blood, ease pain, and restore vitality. The drinks were earthy, bitter, and strong, nothing like the sweet, carbonated version we recognize today. When European colonists arrived, they adopted these practices and began experimenting with their own versions. By the 18th and 19th centuries, homemade root-based beverages became common in American households. These drinks were lightly fermented, which gave them a slight fizz but a very low alcohol content, usually less than 2%. They were called small beers, a term borrowed from Europe, where weak, fermented drinks were safer to consume than questionable water. That's where the name comes from. Root beer wasn't trying to be alcoholic, it was just following the brewing tradition of the time. Here's where it gets interesting. In 1876, a Philadelphia pharmacist named Charles Hires attended a farm wedding and tasted a homemade herbal tea that fascinated him. He was so intrigued by the blend of roots and herbs that he went home and started experimenting. Hires developed a powdered mix that people could dissolve in water, carbonate, and drink. He called it root beer, and he marketed it aggressively. But here's the clever part. He pitched it as an alternative to alcoholic beer, especially targeting working-class men who frequented saloons. The slogan was direct, "Drink root beer instead." It worked. By the early 1900s, root beer had exploded in popularity. Soda fountains served it alongside cola and lemon-lime drinks. Brands like A&W, Barks, and Mug emerged, each with its own spin on the recipe. Root beer became a staple of American culture, particularly during Prohibition, when non-alcoholic beverages were not just popular, but necessary. The drink that started as a folk remedy had become a commercial success, bottled, branded, and mass-produced. But this is the part most people don't know. The flavor that defined root beer for decades, that deep, slightly medicinal sweetness, came primarily from sassafras root. Sassafras was the soul of the drink, until 1960, when the FDA banned it. Studies found that saffrole, the oil extracted from sassafras, was carcinogenic in high doses. Suddenly, the ingredient that made root beer taste like root beer was illegal. Manufacturers scrambled to reformulate. They removed the sassafras and replaced it with artificial flavorings and other botanicals, like wintergreen and vanilla. The name stayed, the flavor shifted. Most people never noticed. Today, root beer is one of the most polarizing sodas on the planet. Some people love it, others say it tastes like toothpaste or medicine. That divisiveness comes from its herbal roots, literally. Unlike cola or lemon-lime soda, root beer wasn't designed to be universally appealing, it was designed to taste like something, a blend of wild plants, folk tradition, and clever American marketing. Modern craft root beer makers are trying to bring back that authenticity, using real herbs and natural ingredients, minus the banned sassafras, to recapture what the drink used to be. So the next time you see root beer on a menu, you'll know what you're really drinking. It's not beer, it never was. It's a relic of home brewing, herbal medicine, and Prohibition-era ingenuity, repackaged as a soda and stripped of its most important ingredient. It's a drink that survived a ban, outlasted its competition, and somehow convinced the world that carbonated tree bark could be delicious. And in its own strange way, it still is. If you enjoy uncovering the surprising stories behind everyday things, there's plenty more where that came from.